All right, so we're diving into 2001, A Space Odyssey, using all the stuff you sent us. Our mission, to break down why it's such a classic, why it still gets to people today. I think we'll uncover some cool stuff you might not know yet.
Okay.
Get ready for a trip through sci-fi, philosophy, and mind-blowing visuals.
Well, one thing about 2001 is that it came out in 1968. And 68 was a year of intense change.
Yeah.
The space race, Apollo missions, Cold War anxieties. It wasn't just some space movie. It was like holding a mirror up to humanity. Like, where do we fit in this whole universe?
That's so true. And you know what gets me? It throws out the usual sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
No laser battles. Just that eerie silence of space.
Yeah.
It's profound.
Exactly. It's different. Like that Dawn of Man sequence, it connects, those early humans with bones as tools to a futuristic space station.
Right.
It's not just clever editing. It's this visual metaphor showing us our whole journey.
Yeah.
And the impact. It changed sci-fi films forever.
Oh, yeah, it did. Okay, let's talk about HAL 9000. I don't even remember him right. But he's not your typical bad guy. He's a rogue AI, sure. But there's more to him, isn't there?
Absolutely. HAL, you see, he's all about pure logic, taken to the scary extreme, like he's missing that human empathy, you know, that stuff that balances us out.
Right.
When he says, "I'm sorry, Dave, I'm afraid I can't do that."
Yeah.
It's chilling because it taps into those deep-seated fears about AI. What if it gets too smart?
And he's so calm when he says it. And you know what's wild? This fear of AI isn't just a 1968 thing. It's happening now with things like ChatGPT. It's like 2001 was this warning wrapped up in a visual masterpiece.
I think you're onto something. 2001 is a cautionary tale, especially for us now, with AI changing so rapidly. What happens when we just chase technology, without thinking about the ethics?
Exactly. Okay, we have to talk about the visuals, the rotating sets, that mind-blowing Stargate sequence. It's crazy how they did that back then.
Right.
2001 is considered a visual benchmark for a reason, right?
Totally. Kubrick, he was a visionary, didn't just film scenes, he created a whole visual language. It influenced so many movies after it. Star Wars, Interstellar, you can see it everywhere.
He gave future filmmakers a whole new set of tools. It's amazing we're still talking about this film like it came out yesterday.
I know, so why does it still resonate? Now that we have things like the James Webb telescope, capturing incredible images,
Yeah.
does 2001 almost feel prophetic?
Definitely. Like Kubrick and Clark had a crystal ball.
It goes deeper than predictions, I think. It gets to the heart of being human.
You mean those big questions? Our place in the universe? Our relationship with technology? It really makes you think.
Right. It makes you consider our past, our present, and the future we're building.
All while pushing the boundaries of filmmaking.
It doesn't shy away from ambiguity. It doesn't spoon-feed you answers. It invites you to think for yourself.
It's 2001. That year used to be the future. Now it's our past.
That's wild. Like, we're looking back on our own predictions.
I know. And for a movie that's over 2 hours long, there's barely any dialogue.
That was Kubrick. He understood visuals. He uses silence to make you think, to pull you into the story.
It stays with you, makes you ask those big questions.
And that's why it's a masterpiece. Even now, it makes you debate, makes you confront these ideas about our existence, about the future, everything.
Okay, when did you first see 2001? What hit you the most?
I don't know if I can pick one thing. It was just overwhelming, that awe and wonder. But I think one thing that really stayed with me, how Kubrick captured, the vastness of space, but also the fragility of us in the same breath.
Right, that feeling of being tiny, but also connected to something bigger.
Yeah, and those existential questions, our purpose, our origins, our destination.
So is 2001 hopeful about the future or pessimistic?
That's what makes it brilliant. It's like a Rorschach test. You see what you see, positive and negative possibilities. It's up to you to decide. It makes you think.
So we each decide what the future holds.
Exactly. It's not telling you what to think. It's making you think. And in that way, it's a part of us, a touchstone for these big questions.
Well said. That's what makes it great.
Right.
More than just entertainment.
It's a catalyst for introspection, for conversation.
Okay. Let's switch gears for a second. You mentioned HEL's voice.
Oh.
It's iconic, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So chillingly calm. Who was the voice behind that?
That was Douglas Rain, a Canadian actor. His voice, it was sophisticated, but detached. He captured AI perfectly.
Amazing, right? How they made such a believable AI back in the 60s, just with voice acting. And remember how we talked about the lack of dialogue?
Yes.
Less than 40 minutes and over 2 hours?
That's right.
But it's so powerful. It shows you the power of visuals and sound.
Right.
Kubrick was a master at getting emotions across, ideas, without needing a ton of dialogue.
He created this world, so you could get lost in it. Think about it.
So it's clear that 2001 is more than just some sci-fi classic.
It's about everything. Our evolution, our relationship with technology, our place in this crazy, huge universe.
It's thought-provoking, asking questions that are maybe more relevant now than they were back then.
Absolutely.
It asks us, who are we? Where do we come from? Where are we going?
2001 does that. It makes you think long after you've seen it.
It really does. Makes you want to watch it again and again.
It sparks your imagination, doesn't it? Makes you question things, reminds us of what humans are capable of.
Good and bad.
That's right.
It's a remarkable film.
Yeah.
A conversation starter. Mind-bending. Something that keeps speaking to people generation after generation.
It does.
Okay, before we go too far, I want to talk about the ending.
Yeah.
It's probably the most debated part of 2001.
Oh, definitely.
That final sequence,
Yeah.
the Star Child, it leaves you with more questions than answers.
For sure.
Which is probably what Kubrick wanted. He didn't want to give us easy answers. But it's so open to interpretation. What's your take? What was he trying to say?
It is complex, isn't it? So many layers. To me, it says transcendence, like humanity breaking free, our limits physically, mentally. The Star Child looking back at Earth, it's like a new step in our evolution. We can only guess where it goes.
It's like witnessing a birth. Something totally new. It's something we don't even understand yet. Some people see the ending as hopeful, humans reaching new heights, but others see it as, unsettling. Why do you think it gets such different reactions?
It's the lack of answers. Kubrick doesn't hold your hand. He gives you powerful images, and you have to figure it out yourself. That's what makes you think, right?
Yeah, like he's saying, here you go, now deal with it. You don't see that much in movies.
Yeah.
Especially not in space movies.
Exactly. It's a film that wants you to participate. It's a journey, intellectual, emotional, and the ending. It's like the peak of that journey.
The ultimate test. Okay, you made it this far. What do you make of this?
I love that it's open-ended. It keeps you thinking long after it's over. That's good art, right? It doesn't just entertain. It challenges you, makes you think about things you never thought about before. That's the ending of 2001, for sure. It doesn't give you a nice, neat answer. It throws the mystery of existence right at you.
Right in your face. And in a way, that's more satisfying. Like Kubrick is saying, come on, let's explore these ideas together, not just watch passively. Besides the ending, there's the monolith, this enigmatic thing. It keeps appearing at these key moments in our evolution.
What do you think it means? What was Kubrick going for?
The monolith is fascinating.
Right.
It's like this silent force pushing us, shaping us. It's something we don't understand, but it moves us forward. Some say it's aliens. Others say it's just the unknown, the forces that control our destiny. What do you think?
Honestly, it's always felt like a giant question mark. Like, hey, there's so much you don't know. We're just a tiny part of something way bigger.
That's a great point. It goes back to that theme of being humble. We think we know so much, but 2001 shows us the vastness, the mystery. It embraces it. Like, look at those stars. Look how much you don't get. That feeling. Plus, a bit of humility. That's what makes it so profound.
Absolutely. It makes you curious, want to explore, but also respect what you don't know.
Okay, back to what we talked about before. The Cold War, the space race. When it came out in '68. Do you think that affected how people saw it?
Oh, for sure. 2001 landed when everyone was both terrified and excited about space. We were about to put a man on the moon. People were wondering, what's out there? What are we going to find? The film, it captured all that, the hopes and fears of that time.
The same film, different meanings depending on when you see it. But 2001, it goes beyond its time. It's still relevant, still debated. Why do you think that is?
A few things. The visuals, those groundbreaking effects, that grabs people. But also, it's those deep themes. What does it mean to be human? How do we deal with technology? What are we even doing here in this giant universe? Those are the questions that last.
Those big, timeless questions, they're what keep us coming back to 2001. It shows us what it means to be human.
Exactly. It's not just sci-fi anymore. It's the core of the human experience. And that's always relevant, no matter what tech we have, how society changes.
It's in our DNA, I think.
Yeah.
Wanting to know where we came from, where we're going, what's it all about. 2001 taps into that like nothing else.
Yeah, it really does. It shows the brilliance of Kubrick and Clark to make a film like that, something that goes beyond genre, beyond time. It just inspires, makes you wonder, makes you question.
Some people say it's slow or difficult. but I think they're missing the point.
Oh, I agree.
The pace, the silence, it's all intentional.
Mhm.
Part of what makes it great.
Right. 2001, it wants you to pay attention, to be patient. It's
Hmm.
not just something you watch, it's an experience you have to engage. And if you do, if you're curious, open-minded, it's so rewarding.
And the rewards aren't simple, right? It's complex, ambiguous,
Yeah.
but that's what makes you think. It asks questions, and that's okay.
It's more than okay, it's necessary. Those questions, those doubts, they stick with you. You keep thinking about them long after the movie's over.
It never ends, does it? The conversation just keeps going. New perspectives, new insights, every time you watch. We rely on dialogue so much in films these days. It's wild to see how 2001 uses silence to tell a story.
It's bold, but it's brilliant. When there's no dialogue, you notice everything else. The visuals, the music, how the actors move. It's like nothing else in Hollywood.
Like he's saying, forget talking, just feel it. Let the images and music take you there. You have to let go of the need for everything to be explained.
And when you do, you connect with the film on a whole other level. You understand it in a deeper way. It's tough, but rewarding, wouldn't you say?
Totally. It reminds us that sometimes the best stories aren't told with words. It's about images, emotions, things you can't say. Filmmakers could learn a lot from that.
I agree. With all the fast-paced movies we have, so much talking. It's good to go back to a film like that understands silence, visual storytelling.
It's just no objectation.
Yeah.
Sometimes less is more. A quiet moment can be just as powerful as a huge explosion or a clever joke.
And those quiet moments, that's where the magic is. In 2001, you take in the beauty, think about what it all means, you really connect with it.
Speaking of connections, what about the connection to existentialism?
Yeah.
The meaning of life, our purpose, why are we here? How does that play into the movie?
That's interesting. Existentialism, it's all about trying to find meaning in a world where there might not be any. 2001 definitely explores that. All the characters, from those first apes to the astronauts going into the void, they're facing this huge, indifferent universe.
And asking, what's it all about? Why are we here?
Exactly. And it doesn't give you a pat answer. It just gives you the questions. You have to wrestle with them yourself. And that makes it stay with you.
It's like it makes you go on an existential journey. Question what you think you know.
Yeah.
And try to find meaning in all the chaos.
It really does. It resonates, I think. No matter who you are, what you believe, we all ask those questions. 2001 gives us a way to explore them, even if we don't get a definite answer.
It says embrace the mystery. The things we don't know. Maybe the answers aren't out there somewhere. Maybe they're inside us.
I like that. It goes back to that idea of hope. That humanity can grow, evolve, reach a new level.
Inspiring and challenging. Still resonates all these years later.
And it's especially relevant now with all the tech, all the changes happening. 2001 reminds us that no matter how advanced we get, those basic questions are still there.
What's it all about? It gets to the heart of what it means to be human. The good and the bad. That's its power.
Absolutely. It goes beyond time, beyond genre. It's about us, about our place in the universe.
It makes you want to watch it again, to think about it, talk about it.
It does.
And with that, we need to wrap things up. But one last question, the big one. Does 2001 think the future is good or bad?
That's the question, isn't it? What everyone wants to know. But I think the beauty of the film, it's ambiguous. It could go either way. It's up to you to decide.
So choose your own adventure future.
Kind of, yeah. The Star Child. HAL. There are so many paths we could take.
Like Kubrick saying, the future's in your hands. What do we choose?
Right. And that's powerful. We have a choice, a responsibility to shape things. It's exciting and scary at the same time.
A call to action. Think about what we're doing, individually, but also as a whole.
And remember, the future isn't set. It's up to us, our choices, our dreams.
So it's a warning,
Yeah.
but also hopeful. Careful with tech. Don't lose our humanity chasing progress.
But it also says we can grow, evolve, become more than we are.
It's a film that. It celebrates us, our curiosity, our need to understand.
It does.
And it ends on a hopeful note. No matter what, we can build a better future. For us, for the next generations.
Yes.
It's a message that never gets old. It
Yeah.
connects with everyone. So as we finish up our deep dives into 2001, let's remember its impact on our culture, on sci-fi, on how we see the universe.
It changed things. Film, art, our imagination, it's still here today. It inspires filmmakers, artists, people who think big, who aren't afraid to explore.
It's a film that deserves to be seen again and again. Talked about, debated. As we move into the future, its themes, they'll stay with us,
They will.
making us think
Yeah.
about who we are, how we use technology, our search for meaning. It's been amazing talking about 2001,
Yeah.
HAL, the ending, how it still matters today. But before we finish up, I want to go back to something you said about how it makes you feel awe.
Oh, right.
That's a big part of it, right?
It is. Kubrick, he knew how to do that. The visuals, the music, the pacing, it pulls you in.
Like you're not just watching. You're there, traveling through space and time.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it special. It's not just sci-fi. It's almost spiritual.
I think so, too. It's like bigger than just a movie.
Right. It's like, you know when you look at the night sky and you feel small, but also connected to everything?
Right.
It's humbling, but amazing. I think that's what Kubrick wanted, to make us think, to make us feel, and question our place in all of this.
And he did.
Yeah,
This
right.
film still gets people talking, still makes them think. After all these years, it goes beyond time, beyond culture.
It's become part of who we are. Like it changed how we see things. Art, music, technology, even philosophy. I can't imagine sci-fi without it.
Neither the effects, the story, it made people think about the future in a new way. And it still inspires people today to dream big, to explore.
Speaking of dreaming big, that's what gets me about 2001. It's so ambitious. Kubrick and Clark wanted to capture the whole universe, and they did. And those effects, they still look incredible.
I know. And they did all that in the 60s, before computers could do it all. It was all models, tricks with the camera. Amazing.
Like the Discovery one, moving through space. The space station spinning. It's pure movie magic. And the Stargate sequence, oh man, the colors, the patterns, still blows my mind.
Kubrick was a perfectionist. Every detail. He wanted to make you feel like you were really there. He built a whole world.
Yeah, and we get to go there with him, explore space, see the beauty, the danger. It makes you think about it all, our place in it all.
That's why it's more than just sci-fi. It's philosophy, it's art, it's pure imagination.
It makes you think bigger, dream bigger, and never stop asking those big questions. So here's my final thought for you. Next time you see the night sky, just let your mind wander. Feel that wonder. And remember 2001, a film that dreamed the impossible and made everyone look up at the stars. It's been awesome sharing this with you. Keep exploring, keep thinking, keep looking up.